Tannie Games here. Welcome back to my channel. I'm here with a very special video. It's sort of a collaboration slash speed build that I have for you today. The wonderful and amazing The Decorista has set a challenge in her Discord for the community of Dreamlight Valley. Basically the task is you get assigned randomly two separate themes, two separate characters basically, and you have to come up with a build, with a photo, anything basically that merges these two kind of themes. So the ones that I got from the random spinner were Merlin and Jafar. So this video will be a speed build showing you my process for that. I do want to thank the Decorista for setting this challenge. I think it's super fun. I was very nervous at first, but I'm very pleased with what I come up with in the end. So yeah, thank you very much. I will, of course, in the description leave a link to the Decorista's channel, and I will also leave a link to her Discord, because if you do want to take part, she has all the rules, all the information in there, so you can go ahead and read all that and join if you want. So definitely recommend that you do that. And before I move into the speed build portion, which is coming right up, I do just want to say if you could leave a like, a comment or subscribe, it would mean the absolute world to me. Yeah, so thank you anyway to everyone for watching this video that's coming. I appreciate you all. I hope you have an amazing day, and let's jump right into it. So here we are at the start of this speed build for the challenge. The first thing I did really was just pull out a bunch of items that I thought I might need, that I might use. My first thought was to actually pull out items from the Sword in the Stone collection, and then my idea was to pull out any Aladdin themed items. But as it turned out, there's not a lot of Aladdin themed items in the game, which isn't like too surprising, I guess. We don't have Aladdin in game, we don't have Jasmine, we do sort of have Jafar but not have Jafar, so yeah, I'm not surprised that I didn't have a lot to work with. But with this concept, basically what I thought was that I would have two sides of like a camp, the left side being Merlin's side, and the idea that maybe he's investigating the Cave of Wonders for like knowledge purposes and things like that. Obviously being that he's meant to be like a good wizard, you know, all for the pursuit of good knowledge kind of thing. And then obviously with Jafar, he's only interested in the Cave of Wonders for the money basically. All he wants is the treasure. So I thought, you know what, I might as well make use of these massive treasure mounds and just basically decorate an area for Jafar like that. My idea was that they would both be kind of similar in vibes, in that they would both have kind of like study desks and things like that, but then like just kind of like opposing sides, opposing motivations and everything like that. So that was my main kind of like idea with this. I did like the idea initially of like a kind of like wizard versus powerful. What is Jafar? He's not a wizard. He whatever Jafar is. I thought about doing a battle off, but because like we don't have Jafar in game, and I didn't really want to make a caricature kind of like version of Jafar, I just thought, you know what, I'll do the two camps. I can pose my character in Jafar's camp and just be kind of like an advisor to Jafar or something like that, and then have Merlin on the other side. You'll see a bit later that I start taking photos just with myself, and then I realised, wait, I'm missing something and I have to go get Merlin. So Yeah, at this point I'm literally just pulling out any items that might be on theme. I pulled out a ton of bookcases, but then realized some of them felt a bit too ornate to kind of place in the desert. And then at this point I'm just pulling out items that I think I could use, but like I wasn't entirely sure how I wanted to use them. I knew I definitely wanted to use these kind of tent things, these market stalls, but I wanted to use them like tents, like as if they were shade for Jafar and stuff like that. And originally my thought process was that I was going to have one set for Merlin and another set for Jafar, but in the end I only used the one set for Jafar actually, which it'd be interesting to see how this looked if I had used sort of like the tent kind of like sheltered market pieces for both sides. I think that would be interesting to see. At this point I'm kind of like clearing away some items. I'm finally deciding where to place them. Obviously I wanted to make use of some of the desks and some of the kind of like bookcases and shelves that had like the potions and things like that. I just kind of wanted it to feel like a study area for Merlin, but then of course I really love the celestial items when paired with Merlin because they just feel like so magical, so I definitely wanted to make use of them. And here I am just trying to decide where to place things on the desk and things like that. I wanted kind of like an area where he might be doing experiments, but then also an area for studying. Now a bit later on I do actually put a scroll on the desk, and when I come out of the decorating mode it actually disappears, it moves back. So I completely forgot that in my final photo, and I didn't realize till it came to kind of like editing, and then I was like, oh no, that's missing. There's a lot of things that I realized come editing that I was like, oh, I could have changed this and I could have changed that. Like for instance at the beginning you'll have seen me pull out an orange tent, and I do wish I'd kept that in the build somewhere. I think it would have looked good, but I didn't use it in the end. But I mean there's always room for improvement here. I mean this build isn't great in terms of accessibility for like the mining spots. I don't know how easily you can get to that. But that wasn't my focus in mind when doing this challenge. I was just interested in doing a setup. At this point where I'm trying to fit the chairs under the market stall thing, originally I wanted to put the throne under there, but then I realized I couldn't sit it centrally with the little chaise longue, and I just had visions of using this chaise in there. I just felt like it kind of seemed very relaxing but very kind of like regal, very royal, so I really wanted to use it. So I thought, do you know what, I'll pull the throne aside, use it for the desk, and then I can have the chaise for the relaxing area. I did also use the orange tea set, which I would have overlapped onto the carpets, the rugs, but if you try and overlap it you actually lose a lot of the detail. So I was like, okay, I'll put it on the sand next to it, and then we'll just use a trio of rugs rather than four that run kind of like symmetrically, I think I mean. yeah, symmetrically. And then at this point I kind of wanted to make almost like a larger size tent, so I put the smaller market stalls on the back of the big kind of market stall, which I thought looked kind of good. I wanted to set this up as like kind of like a relaxing bath area. I don't know if people would do this actually in public where they would bathe like this, maybe they do, but I just thought it kind of looked cool, and I in the end decided to go with that tub. Because I really like the colours on it. I debated using the regular golden bathtub, which I think is part of the Beauty and the Beast collection. And I like the fact that that bathtub had water in it, but I just like the colours on this craftable one that you can make with the DLC. I just thought it looked just a bit more bright, a bit more vibrant, a bit more colourful. I tried to use as many kind of like sandy items as well. So you've got the big hourglass and the big sand sculpture there. I just kind of hoped that they would fit in with the build. Now, I did also want to use a bookcase for Jafar's side. Like, he's a clever person, you know, he's intelligent. But then I realized it just didn't kind of look right, so I scrapped that. There's a few things that I do change towards the end as well with placement of items, but yeah, I did want it initially, but then I just thought it wasn't the right fit. Now at this point, I'm kind of like judging how much we can get into a photo. I wasn't kind of sure what angle I wanted to take the photo at. I wanted to kind of get a photo that shows everything. So originally I was checking out for these zoomed out poses, which do look really nice. You know, I've got these photos saved on my PC, but in the end they weren't quite what I was after. And then I realized that I could probably use with some foliage kind of like thrown in to use as decor. This is something that I do struggle with as a decorator, is the kind of like foliage side of things. I'm not very good at including them in builds. I'm not a great plant person as it is. You know, I tried to grow plants, I tried to look after flowers. I just can't do it. I don't have the attention span for it, I guess. Yeah, I'm not a good plant person. So yeah, I kind of forget about them. They're usually an afterthought. So this was me just trying to fit in some items that I thought might be on theme, like the cactus plants and things like that. Just things that kind of I thought looked natural in a desert. I didn't want to get anything too close to the front of the Cave of Wonders, but I did want it to, you know, be decorated. I wanted it to have greenery and things like that. And then at this point, again, I'm just kind of like doing a walkthrough just to showcase all the different areas. So we've got Merlin's little study area, his little experimentation kind of space. Then we have the Cave of Wonders in the middle of them. And then we have Jafar's area with his kind of like map area. All his jewels, all his riches. And then all the kind of like relaxing and royal kind of looking decor as well, or at least that was the idea. And then of course I had to include the Agrabah statue as well. I just felt that was kind of like mandatory in a build that's centered around Jafar and Merlin. And then at this point I was trying to work out an outfit to wear. As I said, I didn't really want to be a caricature of Jafar, but I wanted to kind of look like maybe like a royal advisor kind of vibe, which I know that's kind of like what Jafar is in the film, but then like, yeah, I kind of wanted to act as that kind of like role. And then I went with some skinny jeans because you can never go wrong with skinny jeans. I'm sorry. I love my skinny jeans. So yeah, I just kind of stuck with them. I kept with this kind of like golden royal coat jacket thing because I just think it looks so beautiful. And I did have the snake companion as well. And then I think it was at this point when I was taking the photos, and then I realised I could go into kind of like the third person mode. I think third person mode is maybe the right word, I don't know, but yeah, I realized I could do kind of like a zoomed out shot to try and get everything in it, and then it was just a case of trying to get the angles right. And it was also at this point that I realized, wait a second, I never went and got Merlin. So like one of the important parts of it I didn't do, so I do in a minute go and fetch Merlin for the photo. Oh yeah, and it was at this point I wanted to clear out all the characters because I didn't want any unnecessary extra characters in my shot. So I did make them all invisible. And then actually when I go back to the main island in a moment, I bring back all the characters that I had hidden when I did my dream snap the other day. So yeah, I realised I had to do that to bring everyone back to the isle. So at this point I'm just clicking through everyone, and then I do decide to check where Merlin is, see he's in the glade, go down there, and then as I run towards him, I see him in the distance in his Santa suit, and I'm like, wait, I'm gonna have to move him out of his Santa suit, and then he's gonna spawn in the plaza. So I did change him back, and then ended up running to the plaza to try and meet him so I could hang out and bring him to a Tannie isle. And it was here that I noticed the orange tent, and I was like, oh, I should have used that. But yeah, and so I bring Merlin over. I try and get him into a position where it looked like he could have been studying, but then he didn't want to go into the space I wanted him in, so I kind of just push him into place. I go to run into my spot, and then he runs towards me, of course, so obviously there was too much of a gap. So what I decided to do, just for the photo, I decided I would trap him into place with some rocks, just to try and keep him there temporarily. And then we start the long process of trying to line up the shot again, because yeah, it was a bit of a difficult process. It was like you get so close and then it ping you back and everything like that. I kind of wanted to include a lot of stuff, and then also when I took a couple of these photos, I did realize there was a massive patch of desert which just looked really empty, and I was like, I have to fill it with something. So I end up moving the golden, it's the medium sized kind of like treasure lump mound thing, whatever it is, and then I put some trees around it, and then that just fills in the space a little bit. It's not fully like filled or anything like that, but it's kind of just enough space to just to fill it out, really. So this is basically my challenge, which was set by the Decorista. If you do want to get involved, I will have a link to her Discord and her YouTube in my description down below, just so that you guys can join, you can take part in the challenge. I do believe she has it running for a little while longer now, so definitely join in. You'll get a randomly assigned challenge to do, and yeah, it'll be really exciting to see what you all come up with. I'm excited to show this off to the Decorista, and I hope you really enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!